Last week, I shared an article about team harmony, and we're going to sort of talk about that a little bit more in this video because team harmony doesn't just happen, although sometimes it might feel like it does. Things just click, but that's not always the case, as I'm sure you've experienced. Sometimes there are things that we actually need to do to create that team harmony. Because research would tell us, or does tell us, that it will take 3 to 5 years to create a high-performing team, and that's if everyone stays in the team. So the team stays exactly the same. The team dynamics are the same. And I'm sure you know that that's not actually what's happening in this day and age. There's obviously, teams don't always stay the same. And and the other thing around that is if we're not doing it in a focused way, we're not taking those steps that we need to take to create the high-performing team and the team harmony that goes along with it. So many years ago, I was very fortunate to be exposed to a framework which is based on neuroscience and also philosophical and psychological perspectives, which talks about those things which we need to have in place to create that high-performing team, which obviously then will create that team harmony. And of course, team dynamics is part of that, as I've said before. There are things that we need to be aware of and we need to meet to be able to do that, to create that. And how do we play with those team dynamics to get there? So this framework is focused on meeting social needs because we are social beings. So there are social needs that we want met whenever we are part of a group of people. So that can be any group of people. It can be the family unit. It can be a sporting team, whether you're part of a service club. Even when we're part of a church or some sort of religious group, there are social needs that we want met that will keep us there. And so those dynamics play a part in that, of course. So if we focus on what are foundational to creating the high-performing team, the team harmony, there's that sense or that need that we want to belong to something. We want to contribute and we want to add value to the group that we're becoming a part of. And so there are some things that we really need to provide for people to feel that need and they know that they belong. They're things like having a shared purpose. What are we here for? What are we here to do? What got us here? Why are we doing this? And that gem that I like to go back to a lot of the time, and that is that role clarity and understanding what we need to do. What's the role we need to play to contribute to this team? Because it will affect team dynamics if we're doing something we shouldn't be, and if we don't understand what the others in the group are doing, and they don't understand what we're doing, or are we doubling up over each other? That will affect team dynamics, won't it? There can be frustration and there might even be a little argy-bargy, some arguments around this. They will all affect how we interact with each other. And then, of course, there's how we're going to work together. Yes, it's the values and behaviours. So important, so foundational, runs through everything that we do. And there's also, the procedural way, the processes and systems we must follow or want to follow that help us achieve what we need to achieve and help us in our roles. Those things, we need to put time and effort into them, and they do take time and effort. There's no doubt about that. But the reward is great as you go along this road. The other foundational pieces that need to be able to express, that need to be able to express what we're thinking and feeling and knowing that it's a safe environment to do so. Because here is where ideas are created and we can have that conversation, that debate even, the constructive conflict around these sorts of things that can be really beneficial to a team, to an organisation, to help them achieve what they're there for. Being able to do that and knowing that you can express what you're thinking and feeling means it's a lot easier for you to be able to perform at your best. We know that if we're not able to express what we're thinking and feeling, we're shut down. The prefrontal cortex, that part of our brain, is working really hard to quieten down the limbic part of our brain, which may want to react in a way that's not so great. And that ultimately will impact on how someone performs as an individual. It impacts on the team. It impacts the team dynamics, and obviously then onto the team harmony. Now, I've only spoken about two of those social needs there, and they're foundational. They must be, we need to get them right. Because when we don't and we want to keep going on the road, it will hurt us later on. The other thing about the whole team dynamics, team harmony, and how we get team harmony is understanding each other and understanding the nuances around how to work with each other as individuals, the sorts of things that will trigger people, which then may lead to misunderstandings that may not have happened if we were aware of those things that will trigger people. And we know how to work with others, not to work around issues, but to approach it in a way that's going to be proactive and have a positive outcome. That is one of those key things, and it's amazing, and I've seen it many times over the years, and even earlier in my career, when you're doing this, we might want to call it profiling, but it's about understanding each other, where we had people in the room who had worked together for 20, 30, and sometimes even 40 years, and they were looking at each other going, that's why you do what you do. No, they weren't just being annoying. It was just innate to the way they operated. It changes and shines a whole different light on how those relationships, interact and work together. Team dynamics. And of course, even though we may put all of the things in place and we focus on, creating, meeting social needs of our team, things can change. There can be things going on outside of, the team, the business, which will impact. It's just natural. It's life. It's when we have these mechanisms in place, we know we've set it up, that we can manage and lead through these times. It's just invaluable. It helps us through those things that, in other organisations, if we haven't focused on meeting social needs and putting things in place to support the team and individuals through these times, it's not going to have a good outcome. It would definitely impact how the team is working together and where that may lead. Will we lose good people because of not acting on certain things? But even still, having these mechanisms in place, when teams will change, there's no doubt about that. People retire, people decide they're going to take a sabbatical, maternity leave, family leave, whatever it might be. That happens. But it means when we bring a new person into the fold, we have a way of doing it so that it doesn't impact the team dynamics, in a negative way. Sure, there'll be a little part of adjustment, but it'll be a shorter time frame for everyone to get in and work together than if we didn't do that. And so there are things that we need to put in place to make sure that can happen. So if you would like to learn more about what those other things are and how you and your team can benefit from it, give us a shout. Love chatting about this stuff. It's one of my favourite subjects, and it's one of my favourite things to get in there and work with leaders and their teams to create that team harmony and have the team dynamics that are positive and create team harmony.